Dorothy, good morning. So good morning. Good evening. Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah. So let me. Hold on, please. Um, okay, Michael.
Hi, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. So,
Good afternoon.
yes, you are now the host.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
I want to share my screen now. Good evening, everyone. I hope you guys can hear me.
Can you share your screen?
Yes, I am.
Okay, can you do that?
Okay, can you enable me to do that?
Okay, let me do that. Let me see.
Go ahead now.
I think you should go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Are you able to do it?
No, I can't. Hello, Michael.
Yes?
I can't do it. As in, you've not activated.
I'm working on it.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I can now. So let me.
Okay. Try sharing your screen now.
Yes, I can do that now.
Okay.
All right. Can you see this?
I can't see your screen yet too.
Can you see it now?
I can't see your screen.
You can see my screen.
I can't see your screen. I don't know if anyone any other person can see your screen. I can only see you.
Okay. Can you let me try it now?
Hmm?
Okay. Hold on. Can you see it now?
No. Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
you
I
can
can
start
see you now.
sharing.
Yeah, you're sharing now.
Hold on. I think it's trying to come up something. Okay.
Yes, it's here.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. So it's just a brief one we're going to have today. Actually, I shared a file with you guys for recently. I shared a file with you guys, and this is the file. This is actually a work term file. So the file I actually sent rather, I took out something out of this so that I can explain to you how we get to arrive at a projected financial statement. So a brief introduction of what we want to talk about today. Okay, um, we may not be able to complete the entire class based on the schedule today, based on how it is scheduled today. But hopefully tomorrow we will extend our class and we'll start early, probably like 1, so that we can treat the assignment, because a lot of you were asking about the solution to the past assignment. So we're going to start small class early. Okay, let's say around 12 or 1, but it will be communicated in between 12 or 1 p.m. we should start. So So today, let's just quickly go about the business of today. So basically what we are going to look at today is financial statement forecasting. So I believe most of you must have made photocopies. So I believe a lot of you must have made copies of the file I sent out for the case study for Zanox Nigeria PLC. So what we want to take a look at now is the file. So if you have the material with you, so what I would advise is, because this is a practical class, so what I would advise is open the material and go to the project, go to project 4. If you have the printed material with you, go to project 4. So let's take a look at what project 4 says. Project 4 is Zanox Nigeria PLC. Can someone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, so project 4 is Zanox Nigeria PLC. So I'll just quickly read through. So it says the historical income statement and balance sheet for Zanox Nigeria PLC for 1999 to 2002 are shown in the sheet Zanox. All right, so if you go to the file I sent to you, you will see the sheet Zanox. I think I actually hide that sheet here. So if I come here, please, I want us to reduce the background noise. I want us to reduce the background noise because we have what to talk about today. Okay, let me go ahead. So if I unhide this sheet, last week we discussed about how to walk back from a financial statement to the trial balance. We concluded on that last week. So let me just quickly show you something. So if you look at what is here, all right. So this is actually the trial balance of Zanox. So this is the historical trial balance of Zanox from 1999 to 2002. This is an historical trial balance. So basically what we did last week is that we were able to, from the financial statement of Zanox, all right, so let me give you the initial financial statement of Zanox. So from the initial financial statement of Zanox, we were able to come at the trial balance. We were able to arrive at the trial balance. So we did that last week. So I will not want to overemphasize that because we have quite much to deal with now. So just go through that material, go through the video. So we were able to arrive at this trial balance from the financial statement, all right? So today what we want to look at is how do we factor assumptions into financial statements? So I will quickly show you something. So if you take a look at what we have in the statement, we have some series of assumptions. All right, if we turn to question 4, okay, we have question 1 to 3, then we have question 4, question 4A. So those are where we have assumptions. So normally what we do is, before we can have any financial model, all right, it is important for us to do what we call model specification. All right, so I'm not able to give you the model specification here because when I was doing my own workings, I actually did my model specification on a paper, okay, on a sheet of paper. So rather, in the actual sense of it, you are supposed to have your model specification draft out in a paper. Then you can now design it probably in a PowerPoint, or you can have it in the body of your workbook. You can have it in one of the sheets in your workbook as a specification. So what does this model specification tells us? I will share that one with you after this class. I'm not able to put that here, but I will put it on PowerPoint and share with you, or I can put it on the workbook and share with you later on. But let me just explain. So in model specification, we are trying to look at how the variables in our financial statements will connect. Let me give you an example. For instance, you want to get your gross profit in your income statement model. You know that your gross profit, the variable that will connect to your gross profit will be your revenue and your cost of goods sold. So your revenue and your cost of goods sold are input to your gross profit. All right. Likewise, if you want to find your EBITDA, EBITDA is earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. So what will form the input in your EBITDA will be your turnover or your revenue, all right, your gross profit, Okay, if you have other income, you factor in other income, all right, to get your total income. Now, after factoring in other income, you now have your selling, general, and admin expenses. So another word for selling, general, and admin expenses is your OPEX. All right. So these are the inputs that will form your output as EBITDA. EBITDA. So that is what model specification talks about. So it's model specification that will actually make someone who is using your model to understand how the variables in that model connects. I hope someone can hear me.
I can hear you. I can
All
hear
right.
you.
So it's that model specification that will actually tell the person making use of your model how the variables in your model will connect. So in the notes I shared with you, if some of you that have been following up with the Google Classroom, I made mention of the fact that we have some key players in any financial modeling project. I discussed about the sponsor, I discussed about the developer, I discussed about the user, I discussed about the reviewer. All right, so that is another story for another day. But what you can just do is to get more of that, go to the Google Classroom, try and get your login details and read that up. So the specification is actually very important because that is what tells the user how the variables in your model will connect. And in case there are improvements, in case there are possible improvements in the model in the future, a reviewer will always make reference to the model specification. All right, so that is that about specification. So if you take a look at what is here, I was actually trying to derive a specification here. So what I was actually trying to illustrate to you here, how a real modeling practice work, or if you want to become a financial modeling consultant, this is what they do. All right, so I was just trying to see here, your sales or your turnover and your cost of goods sold gives you your gross profit. So assuming I was to continue with this, I'll have another arrow that connects to the EBITDA, but you will see more of that, just that I could not really have enough time to complete this because of time. So time was running out and we have to start the lecture. But never mind, you're going to see a full picture of how a specific or a pro forma financial model specification looks like. All right, so from there, let me come here. All right, so what I'm going to do here is this is actually my own work. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take out all this. So we'll work on it together and you see how this works, okay? So in the file I sent to you, all right, this is very interesting and I want you all to listen. This aspect is very interesting. So in the file I sent to you, I actually took out everything that we have here. All right, I took out everything that we have here. So what is this called? So this is called common size statement. All right, so let me explain the background to this. Now, whenever you want to carry out a financial statement model, can someone hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So whenever you want to execute a financial statement model, the project, the first thing you need to do is you need to get management briefing. I did explain that one. We were talking about the stages involved in modeling, in which we said the first stage involved in any modeling project is your scope. Now, in your scope, which is the stage where you get to identify what management problem is, you ask questions and you get briefing from the management. So from the questions you are asking, management will have their own assumptions of what they feel the inputs into your financial projections should be. And you will also have your own empirical facts. Like what I mean by empirical facts is that you will carry out your own analysis. From your own analysis, you can actually suggest what the assumptions in a particular model should be. Help someone understand that. Let me explain again. What I'm saying is that when you want to carry out the financial modeling project, there are two things involved. It's either management is telling you use X, Y, or Z as your input, which is your assumptions to make your projection. Or you are telling management, based on our own empirical analysis, okay, we can actually recommend that X can be used as a basis of our projections, and that will form our assumptions. All right, so let's do this. So one of the ways in which we use empirical facts to bring out our modeling is using the common size statement. And what do we mean by the common size statement? So I believe most of us, we are used to common size statements in our financial reporting. Now, when we say common size statement, what we are saying is every element in the financial statement. Can someone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. So when we are saying common size financial statement, what it simply means is that every element in the financial statement is taken as a numerator of the revenue. I will repeat that. A common size financial statement takes every element in the financial statement. And when I say the financial statement, this excludes your cash flow statement, because we should understand that our cash flow statement is derived from our balance sheet and income statement. So every element in the sense that it is taken as what is it called now? We take elements in the income statement and elements in the balance sheet. So what we'll do here is we have our financial statement. Last week we did something like that. So I'll just briefly go there so you understand what I'm talking about. So let me see. I think I have something here. Let me try and unhide one of these. All right, fantastic. So we have this, okay? Now, what I will do is I have my common size, CSS here means common size statement. All right, so what I'll do is I want to get my common size here. So what I will simply do is I will take my, this is turnover, right? So I'm going to Zanox Nigeria PLC, sheet 6. So I'm going to turnover, I will do this, that will say over. Can you see that now? Then I will pick this as well. All right, so I'm just taking turnover over turnover. That's basically what I'm doing there, turnover over turnover, and I'll press this. All right, but there's something I need to show you first before doing this. Sorry for that. So let me take out this. Well, so what I will do is I'm going to highlight everything that we have here. All right, I'm going to highlight everything that we have here, and I'm going to click on format. So in format, I will go to number. Okay, and I'll press OK. All right, because actually by default, this is what you are going to see in Excel. Okay, Excel will not format your cells as percentage for you. You have to do it yourself. So I just want to show you that because this is what you will see by default. So what you are going to do now is to highlight everything. All right, highlight everything. Then you come to your format. Then you come to percentage. So this is very important, and click on OK. So once you do that, everything that you have here is formatted in percentage. For instance, if I type 5, if I put 5, you can see 5 comes as a percentage. If I didn't do that, I would have gotten my 5 as a number rather than a percentage. So I can now go ahead and say, all right, but before that, sorry, I need to tell you something. Before that, there's something you need to know. If you can remember, if some of you can remember, I did send you, I sent you a material the other time, and in that material, what I actually made mention of in that material is the connection between your income statement, your balance sheet, and your cash flow statement. So that is very important. In fact, that is the basis for our 3-statement financial model. If you take a look at what we have here, okay, so take a look at what we have here. So actually, we've been able to arrive at our cash flow statement. All right, so we've been able to arrive at our cash flow statement here, and there are connections between each of these. All right, so just because of our time, I would have said, okay, let's just go through how this works. I don't know if we have much time left. Okay, so what I will simply do is, okay, I've already formatted this one to take the values we are having here from the trial balance. So we did this last week. I'm not going to repeat this. All right, so let's go down. I just need to show you something. All right, so no need to waste our time. So what you're going to do for me is try as much as possible to study this cash flow statement. I believe you all know how to prepare a simple cash flow statement. So try as much as possible to know the connection between this cash flow statement, because we actually have much to discuss. So I don't want us to waste too much time here. All right. So what I will do is, let me go back to the common size statement. So what I will do here is I'm saying this over this. Sorry, what did I just do? Okay, so we come here. All right, now we pick our turnover over turnover. All right, then I press enter. So I have this in percentage. All right. So what I'm simply going to do is to take this down like this. So I'm having everything as 100%. All right. So after that, the next thing I will do is I'm coming to my cost of sales. So for my cost of sales, I'm going to say this again. I will come to Zanox and here PLC. All right. Then I will come. All right. So what I will do is I'll pick this. Okay. Then I will say over. Then I'll pick turnover. Okay. I'll pick turnover. Then I'll press enter. So doing that, I can also drag this down. I can also drag this down. Okay, actually, instead of you wasting much time like this, the fastest way to do this is just observe the fact that whatever number, row number you are having here, like here we have gross profit as row 17. Can someone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, now here we have gross profit as row 17. If you take a look at what we have here too, in the common size statement, gross profit is row 17. So just take a look at the last row. What do we have in the last row? Total liabilities and shareholders equity. So come here, row what? That is row 69. Just be sure of that. So go to the last, total liability and shareholders equity. It's also row 69, right? So that means they are in alignment. So you can just simply come here instead of doing it one by one, which is going to waste a lot of your time. So you can just simply come here and just take this down. Okay, so it makes a whole lot of sense like this, rather than having it one by one. All right, so what you can not simply now do is you can take out your, now all these ones that have divided by all this stuff, you can just take out all those ones. Oh, sorry, you cannot do that. Apologies, please. So because the reason why you cannot do that is because we are doing a common size statement. All right. Whatever we are going to do, take as the denominator must be turnover. All right. Please take note. We are doing a common size statement and the denominator is constant, and that is the turnover. So you can't drag it down. If you are dragging it down, you are making it a relative reference. Take note of that. You are making it a relative reference. So the only thing you can do is you come here, you say, okay, we can as well just say here, let's make this absolute. Let's make this absolute. If we make that absolute, all right, so make this absolute. Let's see. Okay, so let's just have this. We can actually do that. We can't drag it down. So the only thing we can just do is we can have this. I can take this, all right, and I take this. It has to be relative. It has to be relative. So I press enter. So this is taking gross profit. We need to be sure of that. All right, so it's taking gross profit over sales. So for gross profit over sales, the same thing. We take it down. All right, so we have that. For other income, we have to make it the same because we cannot actually make this absolute. If you are making it absolute, you are only referring to one cell. So that cell will be constant. It must be relative. So the next one we are taking is our other net income / expenses. So if you come here, other net income over sales. All right, so we can take this down. Then we have our selling, general and admin expenses, also over sales. Can someone still hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes.
All right, so we can take this down as well. Okay. Now we have our EBITDA. Our EBITDA is also this. Our EBITDA is also this. All right, so we can take it down. So the reason why I cannot actually drag down is if I'm doing this, it will be wrong because if I'm doing this, the reference should be relative and it should be taking the next row instead of having the row constant at sales. So that is basically what it means. All right. But I think there is another way. Something just occurred to me now. We can actually make each of those. We can actually make each of these absolute. Okay, let's try this out. We can make this absolute. All right. We can make this absolute. We can make this absolute because Excel is all about you being fast. All right. So we can also make this absolute by pressing F4. So what I'm doing is I'm making each of them absolute by pressing. So I'm making each of them absolute by pressing F4. All right, good. So let's see, this should work now because here we have actually made our turnover absolute. All right. So if I come here, I think it's giving me the same thing. If I come here, it's giving me the same thing, right? If I come here, it's still the same thing. Fantastic. So we have gotten it. So I can pick all this and just say, now pasting by formula, I select this. All right, still giving me the same thing. So we are there, right? So I can just drag everything down. It should work now. I think I didn't get that aspect. So fine. So what we'll do is you take out all the ones that have zeros. I'm holding on control. I'm holding down control. That's what I'm doing. So I'm holding down control and I'm taking all the ones with percentage as 0. Can someone hear me?
Yes, continue.
Okay. All right. So I'm taking all the ones that is 0 out. They have to go out. So all this one. So what I'm doing is I'm holding on control so I can take out everything at once. This is a smarter way of going about this modeling task instead of doing it one by one. So the issue we had was that we didn't make you in the first one when you do your turnover, you have to make the denominator absolute because the turnover is a constant denominator, while the numerator will change based on each of the line items in your financial statement. All right, so I'm taking out all these 0. I think this one should not take us much time. Okay, we don't have any other one. Fine. So I will now press delete. What just happened? Yeah, can someone hear me?
Yeah, you went off for a while.
I can hear you, but you went off. So the last bit of what you were saying, I don't think we got that. I don't know if you continue speaking though.
Okay. You cannot minimize Zoom when you are recording this. Okay, all right. Sorry, I don't know what happened. I think it's the internet. But can you see my screen? Can someone see my screen?
No,
Yeah,
we can't see your screen.
No.
Oh, okay. Hold on, please. Can you see it now?
No, we can't see.
Yes, it's about to start sharing. Yeah, you start sharing your screen. You're sharing your screen.
Okay, yeah, it's back now.
Okay, fine. Sorry, I don't know. I think it's my internet. I think I have a bit of connection issue. So as I was saying earlier on, so please take note of the fact that I use absolute to pick turnover as a constant denominator. All right, so I will take out all this now. I'm going to take out all this. So be careful, just hold on 0, hold 0. What I'm doing is I'm holding 0. I'm holding 0. So I think some of you can actually learn faster if you are probably watching this live session via your phone and you are practicing with your computer rather than listening to it directly. I think that one will be better. But that's what I would do. So you have probably 2 systems. You are watching the Zoom with one and you are practicing as I'm doing it with your system rather than just looking at the video. All right, so I'm taking out all the zeros. I'm taking out all the zeros. All right, fine. Can someone see this now?
Yep.
All right, so I've taken out all the zeros. So what I will now do here is I will take the average. It's simple to calculate average. Just say average, select everything that you have here. All right. and press enter. Now, you can take it down. Just take it down. All right, that's it. So the same thing, take out all the division error. So these are actually, Excel is returning error numbers here because those cells have no values. So I'll take out all these ones. Do we have any other one? Okay, we do. So I'll take out all this. Okay, fine. Now you see what we have here now. So let me explain what we have here. So what we have here is a common size statement, both for income statement and for balance sheet. Everything is relating each of the line items to your total revenue. All right. So the average that we have here is now what can form your empirical assumptions in case management do not have their own policy assumptions. Management can either give you policy assumptions or you can have your own empirical assumptions. The empirical assumptions will be derived from your common size statement. All right, your common size statement. So when you have your common size statement, you can now take the average of each of the line items in the financial statement over the historical period. In this case now, we have it from 1999 to 2002. So that's our historical period. And we want to make a projection. Based on our questions, the question says we should make projections from 2003 to 2006, right? Now, so what we want to do now is we want to go into making our projections. So let's see that. If you have the file, okay, so let's go into making our projections. Let me see. Okay, there is something. Okay, not this. Okay, let me just come here. Let me just come here. Okay, let me just come here. Okay, so what I will do is, the file I actually sent out was the one I was supposed to open, because in that one I had already taken out all the necessary things that needs to be, so that I can explain this to you properly. Now, now take note of this, it's very important. Let me try and take this off so that you can see it properly. Can you see this well? Can you all see this?
Yeah, it's bold. It's bold enough. It's bold enough.
So what I will do is, well, now take note of this. Whenever you are giving, maybe your boss in the office sent you a model, or you are the financial analyst, newly employed financial analyst, and your CFO sent you a model, and all you want to do is you want to delete everything. You just do that and you delete everything. Is wrong. You don't delete everything, all right? Because some are formulas and some are hard-coded. So you can only delete the hard-coded, don't delete the formulas. So if you can see, anyone you see in green here, they are formula. I actually made my formula to be green. Anyone you are seeing, like your EBITDA, your EBIT, they are green. Okay, they are formula rather. So I can only take out all these ones. Okay, I will take out all the ones from our projections so that you can actually see how we make projections. So what I want to teach you now is, how do you make projections? How do you make projections? So we are still going to have more case studies. This is just an introductory. This is an introductory one. So I'm taking out all the ones that is hard-coded. So I'm not going to delete anything in the cash flow. Don't delete your cash flow statement, because everything in your cash flow statement is a formula. Everything in your cash flow statement is a formula. So I can as well just, I can as well make everything that is here. I can just come here and make everything that is here green, because they are all formulas. So I see no reason why anyone should delete what is in the cash flow statement, because everything that is here is a derivative from the income statement and the balance sheet. So don't delete your cash flow statement, leave it the way it is. All right, because you, in your initial formulation, you have already designed your cash flow statement. You have already linked your cash flow statement to your income statement and to your balance sheet. And we are going to say that. We're going to say how we're going to link that. I don't just want us to start from there, because I don't want that to waste much of our time. I want us to really understand. The main focus of this class is to understand how we factor in assumptions and how we also do our plugging to balance up our balance sheet. All right, so please, you can now turn to your, I believe you all have the, you have the material with you. So go to your question 4. Is someone there? Can someone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so we go to question 4. Question 4 says you have been asked to prepare projected financial statement for Zanox for 2003 to 2006. Actually, question 1 is saying that we should identify the numbers. Okay, from question 1 to question 3 is when you get to prepare your income statement template, you get to prepare your balance sheet and your cash flow. Okay, I said I was going to talk about that. All right, but let's just go to aspect that is more complicated. All right, because I believe we all have the basic idea of how to prepare balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow statement. It's just the Excel knowledge that we are teaching here. All right, so let's go to the assumptions. Now, number 1 is turnover. Turnover will grow. Assumption A says turnover will grow at 5% based on input from management. Turnover will grow at 5%. So I want you to, if you have the note with you here, if you have the note with you there, underline, go through all the assumptions. Do this for me. Go through all the assumptions. Anywhere you can see historical average, underline it. I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Anywhere you can see historical average from the assumptions from A to V. Okay, there's another assumptions you are going to add. I actually missed that out. So, can someone hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
All right. So, if you go to assumption V, add another assumption. Let that be assumption G. G. If you have your Bible there, you can include that one. Okay, that is G. So the G is PPE. That is property, plant, and equipment. Okay, property, plant, and equipment will grow at 11% per year. So assumption G is property, plant, and equipment will grow at 11% per year based on discussion with management. Property, plant, and equipment. After V.
Where is this one coming from?
After V. Yes, after V. Yes, after V. So you include. Yeah, VW. Sorry. So after V, you have W. So property, plant, and equipment will grow at 11% per year based on discussion with management. All right. So that was actually omitted. So include that. Now go through all those assumptions and underline historical average. Underline historical. Anywhere you see historical average, underline it. Okay. Now, you know the reason why I said you should underline that. The reason is because our historical average, our assumptions that is based on historical average is what we are going to use our empirical analysis to derive. We are going to derive those figures from our common size statement. So that's why I say you should underline those ones. So let's just quickly go there. So normally what you do is when you want to make projections, all right? So everything we have from here to here, from 1999 to 2002 are historical results. You can see it here, historical results. So you now go and do an extension here. So the extension you are doing here is your forecasted years or projected years, all right? So your forecasted years is from 2003 to 2005. Now, in some financial model, in some three-statement financial model, you may not see this. You may not see this heading. You may not see historical results. You may not see forecasted years. So what you will just see is here, you can come here and say 1999A, okay, 2000A, 2001A, and 2002, 2002A. All right. Here you will see either you will see E or F. E means estimate, F means forecasted. Okay. So you can see 2003 F. All right. 2004 F. Okay. 2005 F. All right. 2006 F. Okay, but it is wrong for me to say F and at the same time saying forecasted years. It's like repetition. So what I'm trying to explain is that either you see this or you see this. Most often times you don't see this and this at the same time. All right, so just take note of that. All right, so what we'll do is for all the aspects where we have our historical average. Now, B. B says cost of sales will be 52% of sales, little better than historical average. So what you will do is just go to your cost of sales. Where is our cost of sales? So these are our cost of sales. Now here, okay, ensure you type in here forecasting factor. Okay, forecasting factor. You actually type this one in yourself. Forecasting factor. All right. So for everywhere where you have your average, historical average, you go there and impute the value. So we have cost of sales will be 52% of sales, little better than historical average. So we come here, these are cost of sales. All right. These are cost of sales, right? Then you come here. Now you go to your common size statement. 52%, little better than historical average. All right. Now, what you will do is you simply type in 52% directly, because the fact is, if you look at your historical average is not exactly 52%. So that's why I'm not going to pick it directly from your common size statement. So what I mean is, if I come here, our historical average here, can someone see the screen?
I can see your screen. I can see your screen.
Okay, all right. So
You're,
let's
you're on
proceed.
historical average.
All right. So our historical average here is 52.5%, and our assumption says 52% of sales, little better than historical average. Like 52% is of course better than 52.4 by 0.5%. So what we are making use of here is 52%. So we are not going to pick it. What we have done is that we have taken our historical average, fine, but we are not going to pick historical average number as our projecting factor. So what we are going to simply do is type in 52% in the, what is it called now? So we just go and type in 52%. So what we'll simply do is, sorry, so here now we have 52. So I'll just come here and type in 52%. All right, so I've just come here and type in 52%. All right, so what I've simply done is, it's the same thing I did here. I need to show you something as well. I just want to make sure that you fully understand what we are doing. So what I will do here is, I'm going to format this one. Okay, so I will leave it the way it is by default. Can someone see my screen? Can someone hear me?
Yes.
Can someone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Can
I can hear you.
We can
Okay.
hear you. Can hear
Okay,
you.
so what I will do here is, I'm going to format this. All right, so I'm just trying to show you, the reason why I had to reformat that is the default Excel is going to give you. Excel is not going to give you a default setting by percentage. It will give you a default setting by number. All right, so I've changed the default settings to number, which is what Excel will come up with. So if I just type 5 here, it's going to give me 5 in absolute, except I change it to percentage, and that is what you must do. So change it to percentage by highlighting everything. All right, then you come to format and you come to percentage. So where is percentage? This is percentage, and that's what we have. All right, so here now we can have our cost of sales. We can have our cost of sales as 52. Sorry, so I can just type in here 52. So once I type in 52, Excel return the value to me, for me in percentage. All right, Excel return the value for me in percentage. So Excel returns the value for me in percentage. So I can now come here. So we have cost of sales will be 52% of sales, little better than historical average. So what we can now do is, we now here we say equals to. Can you see this? So we pick this. All right. So when you are making your forecast, you start from the latest year. That means the last year reported. Okay. You have your annual report from 1999 to 2002. You cannot start from 1999. You have to start from 2002, which is the latest year. So you pick this and you say times. Then you go to your forecasting factor. So you pick your forecasting factor as this. Now you have to make your forecasting factor to be absolute. So you make your forecasting factor to be absolute by pressing what now? Who can tell me? Who can remind me that? By pressing
F4.
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 So with F4, my forecasting factor is absolute. So I can now press enter. All right. So that is our cost of sales. Our cost of sales. Now I can take this. Okay, 52%. Please. There is an issue here. The first one. Let's go to the first one. The first one is turnover. All right. Assumption A is turnover. Assumption A says turnover will grow at 5% based on input from management. That is the first thing we must do. Please don't do cost of sales first. If when I give you the model, that's the this is the reason why we have to first of all draft out our specification before going ahead to make projections. So the first thing we must do is our turnover, because our cost of sales will depend on our turnover. The reason why I quickly realized this is I can't be making projections on turnover on cost of sales based on historical results. It has to be based on projected revenue, not based on historical revenue. Is that understood now? I can only make my projections based on projections on cost of sales, based on projected revenue, and not based on historical revenue. Okay, so what I even did here is even very wrong by making the reference to gross profit. So please, this is wrong. So the first thing is turnover. Now our turnover is 5%. All right, so that's our forecasting factor. Now we are told that turnover will grow at 5% based on input from management. So turnover is growing at 5%. I believe we all know the growth rate formula, how to calculate the growth rate formula. So the first thing is, what we first of all pick is this. Once we pick this, we say times, then we open the bracket, then we say 1 plus. All right, now we pick our forecasting factor and we make it absolute by pressing F4. Is that taken now? Then I close it. Can you see that? So I can press enter now. So once I press enter, what I'm simply going to do is drag this down. So what it simply means that I've forecasted my sales. So this is my sales forecast now. Can you see? I've applied this assumption, and the assumption is an input from management. It's an input from management. It's not from our empirical. So it's like when we are having a briefing with management. Management says, okay, we ask management, what do you think? How do you think your turnover will grow? Maybe management is saying, okay, maybe in the next 2 to 4 years, we are going to set up more branches. We are going to procure more inventory, So we expect our turnover to increase based on our own projections. We expect our turnover to increase by 5% year on year. So that is input from management. It's their own assumption. Okay. Now, let's now go to our cost of sales. I said your cost of sales will depend on your projected numbers and not on your historical results. So we said that cost of sales is 52% of sales, little better than historical average. So we have the 52% here already. Okay, we have the 52% here already. So we just come here and we say this times 52%. All right. Can someone hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, fantastic. So I'll make this 52% absolute. Okay, that's good. Now, this is wrong. You know why? Because we've actually formatted our cost of sales as a negative. Okay, and by forecasting as cost of sales are negative, our formula for gross profit is simply an addition of cost of sales and it's simply an addition of gross profit should be turnover. Yes, okay, turnover and cost of sales. All right, so you can see this is negative. Okay, by adding this, Excel takes this negative, this minus this. That is what it means. That is what it means. If cost of sales wasn't negative, if it was positive, I would have just put minus here instead of plus. So you should take note of that sign. So what we are going to do here is we are going to make this negative by putting minus here. Exactly. So I can now drag. Beautiful. So that's what we have. So we have been able to successfully forecasted our revenue and our cost of sales, which is 52%, little better than historical average. Okay, mind you, we are not picking historical average yet because we are saying it is better than historical average. Our historical average is 52.5%. All right, so let's go to the next assumption. Can someone hear me? Okay,
Yes, we can hear you.
the next assumption is SG&A is 29% of sales based on expected worsening. So what management is saying there is that because this is not actually based on our own empirical findings, it's based on input from management. So management is trying to tell us in their briefing that they expect sales, sorry, not sales, they expect OPEX, okay, to increase, okay, they expect OPEX to go in line with sales by 29%. All right. So if you look at the sales trend in our forecast, the sales trend happened to be increasing based on our forecast. So what they are now saying is that their OPEX will also, okay, normally now you should expect OPEX to increase as sales is increasing. But the percentage they are taking out of that is 29%. All right. So 29% of sales based on expected worsening. So what we'll do here is we'll come to our SG&A. Okay, we'll come to our SG&A, and here we'll have 29%. So I'm putting 29% there. So it's the same thing that you do. Okay, it's the same thing that you do. 29% of sales based on expected worsening. So what you just do is go to your turnover. Where's your turnover? This is the line for your turnover, right? Okay, so this is the line for your turnover. Then times 29%. Also make this one absolute by pressing F4. All right. Now you have to make it negative as well, because in the formula to arrive at EBITDA is actually a plus. So I'll take this down. Interesting. So we have been able to successfully forecast our SG&A, your selling general admin expenses. So this selling general admin expenses is actually made up of all your company OPEX, your salaries, your office expenses, your stationery, everything. Instead of listing them one by one, so we actually group everything together under selling general and admin expenses. All right. So you can tick off the ones that we've been able to forecast. Now the next one is depreciation. Can someone hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, the next one is depreciation. Now, if you take a look at it, we have depreciation is 8% of gross property, plant, and equipment based on analysis of depreciation schedule. Okay, so the input for our depreciation, which is 8% there, is gross PPE. Now, if you take a look at the balance sheet, if you scroll down and look at the balance sheet, so for the balance sheet, we have our gross PPE here. All right. Now you can see that there is no forecast for gross PPE. Okay, meaning that there's nothing for us to apply our 8% on. So we must first of all go into the assumptions and look at the assumptions management has made about PPE. That's very important. So if we take a look at it, we are definitely going to complete this class tomorrow because the assumptions are quite much, and I don't want to rush you. All right, so what we will do is now go through all the assumptions and see where we have PPE assumptions. Now, if you take a look at it, okay, let me see. Where do we have PPE assumptions?
Item number M.
M.
Okay.
Assumption M.
Okay, assumption M.
And the one we had it.
Okay, so for assumption M, in assumption M, we have our
You've muted yourself, please.
Hello, everyone. He will join us shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, Wilson. Please, can you unmute your mic?
Okay, yes, I've done that. Sorry. Okay, can someone hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, all right. So let's proceed. Okay, so let's proceed. Now, if you scroll down, we have so we're looking at our PPE. Our PPE is assumption M. So we are saying that PPE, which is net, is calculated from other items. All right, so let's see how we go about that. So if you scroll down, let's see where our PPE is. So these are PPE, right? So our PPE is this as gross, and these are PPE as net. But what we want to take a look at is our PPE at gross. But I think there should be one of the assumptions. I think we should have something that has to do with gross PPE. If you go through, we have
The one you had it, that the PP is 11%. It's increased by 11%.
yes. What
You know that
assumption is
one?
that? Can someone tell me? I can't actually. This is much. What number is that?
We had it
So-
as a W.
Said PP will grow at 11%.
Yes.
Yeah. What assumption? What
Next
number is it?
to W.
No, you said we should have this. It was not there.
Yes.
Is the
This.
last one.
Exactly. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. It means you are following me. So because I believe that as well, I just know that there must be an assumption for that. So PPE will grow at 11% per year based on discussion with management. Thank you for that. Thank you very much. So what we'll do is we have our assumptions for that, and that is 11. Okay, now this is also a growth formula. Now I believe we all know how we calculate growth formula. When you want to calculate growth formula, I will just quickly type it out here. The format for growth formula is you have, let's say you have your value, okay, Vn, all right. Now you have times, you open a bracket, you say Vn plus, now that's the percentage, okay. Let's say X% plus 1. So this is growth formula. Whenever you hear, maybe in financial management accounting or anything, say something is growing by so percentage, this is the formula you use. So you should take note of that. All right, so what we are simply going to do, they have told us here that the PPE will grow at 11% per year based on discussion with management. So what we'll do is we have, equals. Okay, so we have equals. All right, so this times, open a bracket, okay, you put 1, then you say plus this, okay, then you close the bracket, and you come here. I believe you can see the screen. You come here and you press F4, enter. All right, great. So let me make this white again so you can see clearly. All right, fine. So I can now take this down. Can you see that now? Great. So we've been able to forecast our gross PPE. That's important. We've been able to forecast our gross PPE. So someone will ask me, what's the next thing? Where do we go from here? It's simple. So what we'll do from here is we'll calculate our accumulated depreciation. Now, we all know that accumulated depreciation is, the total of all depreciation to date. Like you have your year 1 depreciation as 5, your year 2 as 5, your accumulated, your year 2 as 5, your accumulated for year 2 will be 10. Do you get? So that's what we want to achieve here. Now, in our income statement, do we have our forecasted depreciation? Do we have that? Okay, fine. We don't have that, right? So what we simply do, there must be some assumptions that will tell us that. Okay, so let's just go on with our assumptions. Now, an assumption is telling us that depreciation is taken at 8% of PPE, gross PPE, based on analysis of depreciation schedule. So the accountant, let's say we are doing this financial modeling project for Zanox Nigeria PLC, and the accountant of Zanox Nigeria PLC, of course, we have a depreciation schedule. So it's from that depreciation schedule that the accountant is able to advise that depreciation is 8% of gross PPE on a straight line basis based on the analysis of depreciation schedule. So it's actually part of management briefing and not our own assumptions. Okay. So what we'll do here is they have given us the assumptions for depreciation, 8% of gross PPE based on the analysis of depreciation schedule. So we'll go to our forecasting factor. Where is depreciation? So depreciation and amortization. We can just take out amortization here. Okay, is depreciation they are telling us. Amortization is for intangible. Did I link that thing? Okay, there's actually a link. I can't just take this thing out. It has been linked. It has been linked to, you can see in Excel, you have to be very careful of whatever you take out, because I've actually used a VLOOKUP, a SUMIF, to pick this formula based on depreciation and amortization. I cannot take out amortization, otherwise it will scatter your entire work. So you have to be very careful in Excel. You can see immediately I took out this, it changed something here, and immediately I knew that I've done something wrong. So let's just leave it as depreciation and then amortization. Amortization is actually for goodwill, but fine. So let's leave it. So what we now do is we here, can someone hear me? So here we now come, we say 8%, right? Our depreciation is 8%. So I'll come here and I'll put 8%. Wow, I even have the formula there already. Okay, I've already dragged it down. So I'll come here and I put 8%. Now what do we have? What link do we have here? So there's actually a link. All right, there's actually a link already. So the formula has been linked already. But what I will do is, okay, any need to repeat that? I believe you want to understand this formula. So it's just, the formula is just taking this, making it absolute times G45. And G45 is our PPE at gross. So we have to make it negative. Reason being that whatever is taken out of here, you can see from the historical results, it's always been negative. So that's why we are including minus. We are putting minus in front of it. Okay, so that's just what we have. So I don't actually need to repeat that. So taking it down, it gives us everything here. So now successfully, we've been able to calculate our EBITDA. Our EBITDA is, no, we've not been able to calculate our EBITDA because we still have to forecast our other income. Okay, so what you do for me is, can someone hear me? So what you will do for me is take out all the ones that we have been able to forecast. So we've been able to forecast turnover, cost of sales, SG&A, depreciation. Now the next one is what? Is E, right? The next one is other net income / expenses. Can someone hear me? Can someone hear me? Can someone hear me? So the next one is other net income / expenses. Hello, Michael, can you hear me? Hello? Please hold on a second. I'm trying to be sure someone can hear me. Hello, Michael, can you hear me? Oh my goodness. Hello, Michael. Hello, Michael. Yeah, okay. Okay. Okay, no problem, no problem. I just want to be sure of that. Then, all right, okay. Okay, fine. I'm just being told that you can hear me, so I just want to be sure of that. So where I actually stopped is now other net income slash expenses. So we are told that our other net income, if you look at the workings, our other net income slash expenses is 0.7% of sales based on historical average. Is 0.7% of sales based on historical average. So what we are simply going to do here is all right, so sorry. So what we are simply going to do, we are told that our other net income slash expenses is 0.7% of sales based on historical average. So you go to your, so this is the line that has other net income slash expenses. Now, historical average, we have, yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay. All right, can I go on now?
Yeah, continue, please.
All right. So, sorry. Okay, so let's proceed. Now here we have our other net income slash expenses. Now our other net income slash
We
expenses.
can only see your face. We can only see your face. Can you share the Excel screen?
Okay, sorry. Let me share my screen. Sorry. Let me go back.
Please share your screen.
Yeah, I'm doing that. I'm doing that.
Okay. Yeah, I can see your screen now, so you can continue.
Okay, can you hear me now? I think
you-
I can also hear you now.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. I think you are at the point where you are talking about the projection and for the amortization.
Amortization. No, not amortization. Actually, I'm talking about the other net income. I'm through with that. Do you all understand? If you don't understand what I'm doing, please someone should talk.
You're on net income. You're on assumption.
Go ahead. We are on net income.
Okay, all right.
Go
So,
ahead.
so I'm on net income. Now, follow up with me. Go to your material. So, other net income slash expenses is 0.7% of sales based on historical average. So, you know, I told you the other time that you should underline historical average. So, anywhere you are seeing historical average, you go to your, what's it called, your common size. Sorry. So, you go to your common size statement. So, these are common size statements. All right. So they are saying that our other net income is 0.7% of sales based on historical average. So where do we have other this thing here? Other income slash, okay, this is it here, right? Row 18. So you can see that it is what? Is 0.7%. Do you get? You understand what that means now? It means it is not management that is telling us to use 0.7%. We are the one that is using 0.7%. Because management cannot actually determine what, cannot actually based on their own estimates determine what that income will be for them, project. But we are now basing the projection based on the average of all the numbers on the common size basis for year end 1999 to 2002. Is that understood? So what I'll do is I'll pick this now, right, and I'm going to press enter. So it's very important that, see, in Excel, one thing is very important. Avoid, try as much as possible. Can someone hear me? Okay, there's a secret that I need to tell you. In Excel, try as much as possible to avoid coding numbers. Whatever numbers you can link up. Can someone hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I can hear you.
Whatever number you can link up, try and link it up. Any number you can link up, link it up. Don't, for instance, it would be wrong of me to type 68%. It would be wrong of me to type 68. So this is taking it as 0.68. Why is that? It's because here we are having Okay, it's correct. 0.7% is the same thing as 0.6. It's an approximation. All right. So whatever number, whenever you're trying to work on Excel, always try as much as possible not to add code. Okay, it's very important you don't add code. So that's why I'm linking this up directly from the common size statement. All right, so let's go to our assumption. So our assumption says that interest income is calculated, other incomes like expenses is 0.7%. Please remove the minus in front of that 0.7%. Is 0.7%, not minus 0.7%. So 0.7% of sales based on historical average. So what we'll do here is, please base it on projected numbers, So you come here, which is projected sales, times, so you take 0.7% and you make it absolute. Therefore, you press enter. Can you see that now? So I can now take this one down. Fantastic. So I've been able to, so what we have done here is that we have been able to forecast our turnover, we need to forecast our sales. Then from there, this is a calculation. We have been able to calculate our gross profit. We've been able to forecast our other net income / expenses based on historical average of 0.7%. We've been able to forecast our selling general admin expenses based on expected worsening of 29% on projected revenue. We've been able to arrive at our EBITDA, and our EBITDA is an input from gross profit, other net income, and selling and general expenses. And we've been able to arrive at our EBIT. EBIT is earnings before interest and tax. All right. Now, I think you should all know the difference between EBITDA and EBIT. Okay. You can just read that up. Actually, EBITDA is used to know the operational performance of the company, taking out depreciation and amortization. You understand now? While EBIT is also the same thing, just that EBIT actually recognizes depreciation and amortization, while EBITDA does not. Okay, so that is it about EBIT and EBITDA. Okay. All right. So let's go to the next one. Now, the next one tells us about interest. Okay, that's assumption F. Are we there?
Yes, we are.
So assumption F says interest income is calculated based on average balance and the interest rate specified later. Okay, so they are telling us later here. We have to go to where we have the later. So if you go to other assumptions, so go to other assumptions, you'll see what they are talking about later. So other assumptions, which is assumption X and Y. Are you there? Because what we want to do now is we want to forecast interest expense. Let's do interest income first. Let's do interest income first. Where do we have interest income? Okay, interest income is assumption G, right? So assumption G says interest income is calculated based on average balance and the interest rate specified later. Okay, it's still the same thing, sir. It's still interest income. So we'll now go to the interest rate specified later. Now, okay, I think that's calculated based on the cash position. Interest. Okay, now assumption Z now. Or if you go to other assumptions, go to assumption Z. Assumption says interest in cash and marketable securities. Because two things are involved here. We have interest income and we have interest expense. We can only earn interest income based on our cash at bank and our other interest, other marketable securities. So when I say marketable securities, those are cash equivalents. So cash and cash equivalent is what will give us interest income. Interest expense will be from our debts, both short-term debt and long-term debt. Do you understand? So we have been given that the interest on cash and marketable securities is 6% based on economic forecast. So this is not an assumption from management. This is our own assumption as financial analysts, as consultants. We are saying that, okay, based on forecasts, based on economic forecast, maybe from CBN report or whatever reports we have, we've been able to see that, okay, in the next 1, 2, 3, 4, in the next 4 years, okay, starting from 2003, we expect interest on account to be 6%. Do you understand? So we are going to factor in that 6% as our assumptions. Sorry, this should be.
Hello, please, can we all mute our mics?
Please, can we all mute our mic, please?
Please, can we all mute our mics?
Okay, so I've been able to impute 6%, which is the interest income expected, right? So what I will do is, so let's do our forecast now. So I'll come here and I'll go to our cash and cash equivalent. Just scroll down. Your cash and cash equivalent is in your balance sheet under current assets. Okay. All right. So if you come here, you see that we don't have anything like cash and cash equivalent. Do you know why we are having this challenge? The reason why we are having this challenge is because we have not done our specification. And that's important you need to do. I was trying to do that specification here. Assuming I've done that specification, I would have been able to know that cash and cash equivalent is not yet forecasted. So I can't forecast my interest income based on what has not been forecasted. So I would have done this one first. Do you understand the logic now? The logic for specification. Because I told you that specification is important.
Yeah.
If you had done that specification, we would have done this first because we know that interest income depends on this. So we'll float this in before calculating our interest income. So since we haven't done that, of course, we can't calculate our interest income without forecasting our cash and cash equivalents. So let's go and forecast our cash and cash equivalents. So somebody should, let's look into the assumptions that gives us our cash and cash equivalents. Maybe on your own, I'll give you an assignment. You try to do the specification for this model. Try and do the specification for this model. I'll give us an assignment before we look at it in the next class. So what assumptions tells us about our cash and cash equivalent? Can someone tell us that? Assumption, what is that?
Assumption I.
Option I.
Okay, so assumption I is saying cash and cash equivalent is 2.1% of turnover based on historical average. Where am I going to get my historical average from? Can someone tell me? Eh?
Common
From the
size.
common size financial.
From the common size financial statement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press equal to here, and I'm going to go to my common size financial statement. So you can see that for me now, I've put a note here, assumptions, recommendations to management. Assumptions, you can see Wilson, assumptions, recommendations to management. So these are recommendations to management. Management can have their own, but these are our own recommendations. So assumptions, recommendation to management for cash and cash equivalent is what? 2.1%, right? So I'll pick this 2.1% here and I'll press enter. So that's 2.13%, approximately 2.1%. So sorry, where did I put that? Okay, I'm correct. All right. So now we are told that our cash and cash equivalent is tied to our turnover based on historical average. Okay. Now it's not going to be on the projected numbers. It's going to be on the, sorry, it's not going to be on historical numbers. It's going to be on the projected numbers, right? So I pick the projection of the forecast for 2003. Then I say times. All right, can you see that? Then I come down here and I pick my forecasting factor and I make my forecasting factor absolute. I think we all know why I'm making this one absolute. It's simple now for my elementary knowledge of referencing. All right. So that's why I'm making it absolute. But if I don't make it absolute, it should just be going here. It will be going here. It won't make sense. All right. So what I will do is I'll take this one down. Perfect. So we've been able to forecast our cash and cash equivalent. Now after that, now we can now go ahead and calculate our interest income. So we go up again. Interest income. So we are told that our interest income, our interest in cash and marketable securities is 6% based on economic forecast. 6% based on economic forecast. Sorry. So we're going to take this. All right. So we're going to take this. Then we're going to go to our cash and cash equivalent. Okay. We're going to go to our cash and cash equivalent.
5 and 6.
Why am I the one admitting people? I'm seeing 2 people.
So the previous interruption made me I was not able to be the host of the
All right,
meeting
it's
again.
fine. Okay, so interest income. So where did I stop? So let's go to our cash and cash equivalents. Where is our cash and cash equivalent? Under current assets. Okay. Okay, we have projected that times forecasting factor. Our forecasting factor is 6%, and we make it absolute. F4. All right, so we can now take this down. Perfect. So we have forecasted our interest income successfully. Okay, so we can tick that because we have done that. So we have forecasted our interest income successfully. So the next thing is our interest expense. The next thing is our interest. The next thing is our interest expense. So how do we forecast our interest expense? So you're told that our interest expense for short-term debt is calculated based on average balance. Okay, please take note of this. This is a bit complicated, but it's not complicated if you listen. Now we are told that our interest expense for short-term debt is calculated based on average balance. So short-term debt is calculated based on average balance and interest rate specified later. Okay. Now for long-term debt, interest expense will remain unchanged at 13.5 million. So what's this one telling us? So 13.5 million naira for long-term debt is constant. Do you get? But the interest rate that will be applied on our short-term debt is not constant, it's variable. Okay, and in the assumptions, in the other assumptions, I believe we are giving the interest rate for our short-term debt. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to, now take note of 13.5 million as a constant interest rate for interest expense for long-term debt. Now let's go and pick the interest expense for short-term debt, which is based on average balance. Okay, do we have our short-term debt forecasted? Let's go to our short-term. Okay, we don't have our short-term debt forecasted. All right, so you can see because of our specification issue. Because of our specification issue, it is very important to specify. So let's go to our, let's forecast our short-term debt. Do we have assumptions for our short-term debt?
Yes. P. Assumption P.
Assumption what? P. So assumption P tells us that our short-term debt should be held. Can someone hear me? Assumption B tells us that our short-term debt should be held constant at year-end 2002 level. So what that means is we have a year-end for our actual results, which is 110.3, and it should be held constant. It's very simple. This one is very simple now. Just pick this one and make it absolute. That's the interpretation of that assumption. So pick 2008, 2002, Abi, year in 2002 is 110.3 million naira. Make it absolute. Then take it down. That's all. All right, so we have forecasted our short-term debt. We can now go back to our interest expense. So you can see how forecasting works. So we can now go back to our interest expense. So now for our interest expense now, for our interest expense will take into account 2 factors. Now, interest expense for short-term debt is calculated based on historical balance and interest rate specified later. So what's the interest rate that was specified later for interest expense? Do we have that on short-term debt? Can someone tell me? Interest rate specified on short-term debt. Can someone tell me?
7%.
X. What is that?
7%.
7%. 7%. So 7% is specified for short-term debt and 13.5 billion naira for long-term debt. I believe we know how to factor that one in. So what we will simply do is we come to our interest expense and we'll say we first of all go and pick our short-term debt. Before that, can someone hear me? Can someone hear me?
We can hear you.
I can hear
Yes,
you.
we
I
can
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Yes, you.
Okay, so before that, first of all, put your forecasting factor here. The forecasting factor is 7%, isn't it? On short-term debt, right? Then you go to your 2003 forecast and you pick your, open a bracket, okay? Go and pick your, what's it called now? Your short-term debt. Pick your short-term debt, all right? Times. Pick your forecasting factor. Here's your forecasting factor, 7%, and make it absolute. Okay, please, a minute, please. Okay, so I picked my forecasting factor and I'm making it absolute. All right, so I pick my forecasting factor and I make it absolute. All right, now before you do that, it's very important. Okay, let's go ahead. I will tell you something now. Okay, now you close it, then you say plus. Now your 13.5 million. 13.5 million is the interest expense for short long-term debt. Do you get interest expense for long-term debt? But instead of me typing 13.5 million, I want to try as much as possible to avoid hard coding numbers. Do you get? Or even if you want to hard code numbers, you should put what is it called? A comment on that number to show that okay, so number that is 13.5 million is actually interest expense for long-term debt. But not just put hard-coded numbers without giving explanation for what that number means. What I mean is that I cannot just come here and say 13.5 million naira. Instead, I put comments on that number, or I go somewhere and type 13.5 million and indicate that as interest on long-term debt. Do you get?
Yeah.
All right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put, I don't need to put this one as absolute because it's a number. So remember,
okay. You, the mama will ask me, the phone doctor.
please let's mute let's try.
Please, can we mute our mics? Please, let's mute our mics.
Let's mute our mic. Let's mute our mic, please. All right, I think it's better now. So so what I will do here now is I'm going to put another column here. I believe, please, if you don't understand this formula, I don't just want to be teaching myself. If you don't understand anything I'm doing, ask questions. You can ask questions on the WhatsApp group. You can ask questions if you don't understand what I'm doing. So it shouldn't be as if I'm just. So if you don't understand what I'm doing, try and ask questions. So I'm going to put a negative here and I'll press enter. So this is what we have. I believe you all understand this.
Hello, please can you mute your mic?
Michael,
Yes.
is it possible you mute participants, other participants? Would that be possible? I think, hello, we need to mute our mics. We need to mute our mics. Or try as much as possible. Try as much as possible to be quiet.
Hello, Wilson, please can you mute them? Mute.
Okay, let me see. Let me see if I can do that. I actually don't want this to be a distraction. Okay, I think it's better now. Let's just try and cooperate. Okay. Let me see if I can actually do that. Hello, Michael.
Everyone is muted already. Everyone is muted now. You can continue.
Okay,
everyone is muted. Please let's
fine.
mute our mic so that we don't distract.
All right. So I was talking about the interest expense, and I said this formula, ensure you understand whatever formula I'm imputing, because that's the basis of modeling. You should be able to understand formula. If you don't understand formula, then I don't know. All right, so I can take this one down. Yeah, fine. So I've taken this one down. So with this now, we've been able to calculate our interest expense. Okay, so we've been able to calculate our interest expense. So if I come here now, you can see the variables that my interest expense is picking. Here it is picking short-term debt. Okay, and it is applying 7% to short-term debt. So 7% to short-term debt, whatever you see here, age 56 times K26 is our short-term interest expense, plus 13.5 million, which is our long-term interest expense. That's the interpretation of this formula. Okay, so if you take it down just like that, you can see. So we've been able to forecast our, what's it called? We've been able to forecast our interest expense. Fine. So we can take that one out. All right. So we can take out assumption G. The next assumption, the next thing is assumption rather is income taxes, right? That's assumption H. That one is straightforward now. Assumption H says income taxes is 35% of pre-tax income. All right, that one is very straightforward. 35% of pre-tax income. That's the assumption. There's a formula there already. I didn't take out that formula. So what this one actually says is, if I take out this, all right, 35% of pre-tax income, all right, times 35% absolute F4, take this to negative and enter. Then you take this down. All right, so with that, we've been able to calculate our net income. So we have our net income now for the forecasted years. All right, so the next one is, all right, if you go to your question, we've been able to calculate interest expense, income taxes, we've been able to calculate cash and cash equivalent, which is 2.1% based on historical average. Now, the next one is what? Account receivable, right? Account receivable is what? 8.4% of sales based on historical average. So where's our account receivable?
Hello, Wilson. Hello.
Yeah.
So we have a question. Dorothy has a question.
Okay, okay, go ahead.
Unmute her so she.
Yes, you can unmute her. If you have a
Dorothy,
question,
please.
you can ask.
No, I think you have to unmute her.
Okay, I've done that. Hello?
Okay, someone has a question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Wilson. I want to know this G. I'm confused here. I'm sorry. Why is the financial analyst forecasting for the customer?
Why
is
is
it
it
just because? Yeah, is it because of any article? Just only because of the article from maybe central bank or
okay. You are asking why do we make forecasting? Why do we forecast?
Yes, that's for G. For G, the forecast you say it's at 6%. Interest expense for short-term debt.
Yes, 6%. Yes, based on economic forecast. Yes.
Okay.
So what's the question?
Yeah, I was wondering why it is 6%, because 6% was not stated in G.
No, 6% is actually in other assumptions. If you go to other assumptions, you will see assumption Z, which is interest on cash and marketable securities. 6% based on economic forecast.
So it's that one.
Yes, that's 6% we are using. Now, what we are saying that is, our cash and marketable securities is made up of our, the cash at bank, the short-term securities that we have, which is the same thing as our cash equivalent. Do you get redeemable maybe in 3 months or so? They are cash equivalent. So whatever interest rates that will be earned on that is what we have forecasted based on, is an economic forecast. like it's going to be 6% in the next 4 years, year on year. Do you understand? So we are now saying whatever amount we have as our cash and cash equivalent, let's forecast it by 6%. We are not just making that forecast, it's based on economic analysis. Do you get?
Okay, thank you.
Do you understand?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, I understand. Thank you.
So that is it. All right, so where did I stop? So I was talking about assumption what now? So I was talking about account receivable. So I said account receivable is 8.4% of sales based on historical average. Account receivable, 8.4% of it based on historical average. So we come here equals. Now when we say historical average, don't forget again, we go to our CSS. Historical average is, you can see, it's already given here, 8.4% based on historical average. All right. And we apply that to our projected revenue. 1.4 times our forecasting factor. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some of these assumptions as assignments. So I'm going to press F4, okay, because this is a whole lot. So you can see we have a whole lot of case studies under Zanox Nigeria PLC we are still going to look at. So it's a complete question. So there is nothing somebody wants to tell you under financial statement forecasting that is not in this question. Whether you talk of, if you want to talk of scenario analysis, sensitivity analysis, you want to talk of how to do plugging, you know, a whole lot. We are going to talk about it here. So it's a complete set of questions that discuss the length and breadth of financial statement forecasting. So if you go for any interview and you are asked what is financial statement forecasting, there's no interview question you should not be able to answer with this training. So that's actually where we're going to. So here now, we can now, so here, I've been able to apply the formula here. I can take this down. Fine. So this is how we make our projections. So I've made projections for account receivable based on historical average of 8.3%, applying it on our projected revenue. All right, so I think I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop here. All right, so what you will do for me, can someone hear me? Can someone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes, so what you would do,
hear.
yeah, so what you would do for me is, if you have been following up with this class, try as much as possible. We've been able to get at assumption J. So look at from assumption, take this as assignment. You can work this on your own. Assumption K, which is inventories. Inventory is 8.8% of turnover based on historical average. Take it down to assumption, let me see. Okay, for your assignment, take it down to assumption T. Should that be too much? It's not much now. Okay, take it down to assumption T. From assumption L, your assignment, assumption L to assumption T. All right, so tomorrow.
Not K anymore. Say K. Inventories.
No, to T. Sorry, from K rather. From K, inventory. Inventories to other non-current liabilities will grow at 7.6%. So that's your assignment 1. Assignment 1. Then assignment 2. Assignment 2. Your assignment 2. You are still going to have the assignment stated for you on the WhatsApp group and Telegram. So your assignment 2. Your assignment 2. You can take note of this. Your assignment 2 is give me a specification, model specification. Try and complete this model specification for me. This model specification for income statement. Model specification for income statement. Now, you may not necessarily do it in this form of diagram. Okay, you may not do it in this diagrammatic form. What you can do is, if it is possible for you to do it in a paper, just take a paper, an A4 paper, plain A4 paper. Do you get? Take a plain A4 paper, do the specification there, and send it. Just snap it and send. Or if you feel comfortable with Excel, you can do it with Excel. And if you don't want to do it in this form, if you don't want to do it in this form, for some people, they may have it, they may have the specification like a table like this, something like this. Okay, so just tell me the variables that connect, how those variables in your income statement and your projections. So make the forecast, the project, the what's it called, the specification for, make the specification for the historical performance and the projected performance. So tell me how those variables connect. You can do it in this tabular form. You can do it in, we call this bubble form. Okay, I will teach you that one later. When I'm actually going to teach you that one under what's it called? Spreadsheet modeling best practice. So it's a PowerPoint. I was actually working on that PowerPoint. Okay, can you see this PowerPoint? Can someone see the screen? Can someone see this?
No PowerPoint yet.
Okay,
no, it's not shared. Share it.
Share it.
Okay. So if you can't see it, it's not a problem. I've not finished the PowerPoint. I'm still working on that PowerPoint anyway. If you can't see it, there's no problem. So let me just go back to. So I will show you the PowerPoint. Never mind. I will show. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Can you see the screen now? Okay.
Yes.
So I will show you the PowerPoint later. So the idea is what we are trying to do. We're trying to build you up to be a financial modeling consultant. So that's why this is very interesting, because what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how you can actually be a financial modeling consultant, how you can know the players in financial, you can actually take a financial model project, build it from the start to finish, a startup model and all the different types of model. And this is what financial modeling consultant, this is what they do. So once they get management briefing, they do their model specification, and they do their model specification, they now start building the model. You don't build unless you have specified, because if someone picks up this now, the person may not actually understand how these things connect. You can see that we are trying to go from one, but assuming we have the model, we would have known what to do first before going to the other one. And somebody can just pick up that specification and look at it. Okay, this is it. So it's very important you have a model, especially even when we talk about merger and acquisition model. So hopefully next week we'll discuss merger and acquisition modeling, and that one is even more advanced and more complicated than this. I will send you the case study before next week. All right, so please take that as your assignment. Your assignment is number one: get your projections based on assumptions from K to T, and specify your model. All right. So Michael.
Yes, I'm here.
All right. So please, I think we need to end the class here. Now, also take note of this. If you can recall, I sent you another. Let me share this. Hold on, please. I want to share something with you. Okay. Okay, it's fine. Okay, so I actually sent something to the WhatsApp group. Always make reference to that. You will see financial indicators for Zanox and PLC. Yes. So all the indicators, we're going to take a look at all these financial indicators and see how we can interpret our projected numbers. Interpretation is very important. All right, so we're going to end this class here today. So tomorrow we'll proceed, because it's actually a whole lot and it's not something we can cover in a day. So what we just try to see is by tomorrow, all the other aspects that are itemized we're going to talk about today, we'll briefly look at it, because our main focus should be on financial statement forecasting. But we'll briefly look at just one short example, look at valuation model, and look at what's it called, investment appraisal, and pricing model, or price analytics. Pricing analytics. All right. So Michael, you can just end the class from here.
I think you have to end it by yourself since you're the host.
Okay, all right, it's fine. Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone.
All right. So thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're doing.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. So see you tomorrow. We're going to share our schedule tomorrow. We are going to share our schedule for tomorrow class this evening. All right, but it's going to be early. It's going to be early. We're not going to make it 5 o'clock. We're going to make it maybe like 1 or 12. But we'll communicate to you guys so that we can treat the assignment. All right, take care.